Hi folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Monday night live stream. So how is everyone doing? Looks like we've got a few in the chat already this evening. And as you can see tonight, we're talking Walking Dead All Out War, along with other Mantic stuff as well. Anything you want to have a chat about, I'm sure we'll chat about other board games and other miniatures games as well. But randomly, I'm getting some feedback now from our speakers. Why has that happened again? I did turn it off. Honestly, I did turn it off. Done now. Yeah, so I had a question today in the Facebook group about what would you like to chat about? What's tonight's topic? First three people I think that commented all mentioned about Walking Dead, about the Wave 5 release, which is the Fear the Hunters, also about Here's Negan. So I reached out to Mantic this morning and said, is there anything you can kind of, you can give me that might help with the live stream tonight? And Rob very, very kindly sent me the rule book for both the Wave 5 release and also for Here's Negan. So he said you can, we'll get some exclusives tonight, some extra information that you might not know about. But please leave a little bit for Mantic as well. So I'm going to try and make sure that I give you guys some information, but also balance it with not revealing everything there is to know about it. So let's have a chat. See in the chat, see who we've got. So we've got Steve Smallworld is in tonight. Good evening, Steve. How are you doing, mate? 1,000 apologies about the D&D at the weekend. No doubt we'll chat. We'll catch up about that in the chat at some point as well. We've got Christian in. Good evening, Christian. Nice to see you. I'm just reading Steve's chat there as well. Sweet said, how can you get a thumbs down before you've even start? So he leveled it up with a thumbs up as well. So yeah, I think pretty much every one of my videos gets at least one thumbs down. So I'm all right with that. Somebody doesn't like me, that's all right. Doesn't like my content. They keep coming back and giving it a thumbs down. It's still, YouTube still likes the fact that they're coming back and giving me a thumbs down. It's fine. So hi, Christian, as well. We've got Kyle in as well. How you doing, buddy? Are you doing a little bit of hobby tonight as well? Bit more work on your Daughters of Cain, or is it something else? We've got Mark Berenclough in as well. How you doing, Mark? He said it must be a poker player. You wouldn't believe how many people I get asking to join the Facebook group. And I started to put a question on so to try and kind of weed these people out who weren't really into miniature gaming. The amount of people that put, what games do you play? They put down poker, blackjack, roulette. Yeah. And I never thought it would become popular when I created the name Blackjack Legacy. Now I know I should have just probably tried to avoid it. But never mind. So we've also got Joseph Witt. Good evening, Joseph. We've got Jens in as well. Hiya, Jens. How's the move gone? Are you all relocated now as well? We've got Gary Hollandale in. Good evening, Gary. Says it's always a pleasure to watch this. It's always a pleasure to have you here as well, mate, watching. We've got Tim Kelly in as well. Evening, Tim. And we've got Rob Seymour in as well. Says hi all. Hi, Rob. How are you? Gary is saying we're huge cheers and fireworks in the stream start. What can I say? You got a bit of pizzazz. You got to get the energy ready, haven't you, for a live stream? Jens says, I'm Negan. Is that like I'm Spartacus? Is everyone going to say that now? We've got Bob pointing in as well. Hiya, Bob. How you doing, mate? Said he's excited for Here's Negan. Mantic are ace at their community engagement. I have to say, I mean, absolutely hats off and thank you very much to Rob and everybody else at Mantic as well. It doesn't really seem to matter how much kind of whether you've got 10 subscribers, whether you've got 1,000 subscribers, if you reach out to them, they will help you out. And I only wish that other companies were as engaging. Some will only kind of even talk to you when you hit kind of 10,000 subscribers. Some don't even get back to you. Some never reply. Mantic have been absolutely frantic. Fantic. They've been fantastic since day one. So thank you very much to those guys. Maybe because I've kind of done a couple of things with them now, they know that you maybe trust me with a little bit more information than I'm allowed to share. So yeah, that's really thanks to them for the stuff tonight as well. We've got how much is a duck worth? Nice name. I like that, buddy. We've got Adam Rogers is in. Good evening, Adam. How are you, my friend? We've got Dan Bates in. Says hello from the US. Nice to see you, Dan. I think you're the Dan from the Facebook group that we were just briefly chatted with earlier on as well. Jens says, hi, no move. Is it not happening now, mate? Oh, dear me. Mark says he's Negan. And Jens is saying, live next to the border, so got a full furnished apartment for me, but my house is near. You're right on the bogan. That explains why then. And Sean is saying, we are all Negan. Randomly, my speaker keeps doing so. I'm just going to unplug my headphones there. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but it's not going to do it now. So, yeah, so we've also just got Sean Matowski in as well. Nice to see you, Sean. And we've got Todd's just came in as well. So I think we've got something like 20 people in or something already tonight. That's good for the first few minutes. Sometimes it takes a little while to warm the chat up, but I think the talk about All Out War has got everybody ready to go tonight. So, now I will start this, right, with a couple of provisos. So, proviso number one, Rob did send me the information early on today, kind of lunchtime, but I only actually got in from work and was a chance to read it. It was about 6 o'clock tonight. So, I've had about an hour of reading through the two rule books. So, I think I've kind of got my head around bits that haven't been talked about, things that have been talked about, things I can't talk about. But I'll try and share as much as I can without kind of crossing the line. Bear in mind also that these rule books are not finalized. So some things we talk about tonight potentially could change. But potentially, I think from looking at them, they're almost the finished product now. So what else did I want to say as well? Yeah. So what we'll do is as well, I'll start with the Mantic blog. So the things that have been released officially. And then what I'll do is I'll try and build on those things. I've wrote myself. I kind of went through in the last hour and wrote myself a load of notes reading through the rules. So I've tried to read 2 rule books for 2 games and take notes and try not to share too much. So if you guys ask questions as we go, and I'll try and answer the questions the best I can, that might be easier than me trying to remember all of the rules. I have got the rule books here, and I might be able to potentially show little bits of them without sharing too much. So we'll see how we go. We've also got TNG Productions are in. Good evening. Nice to see you guys too. Anybody that hasn't subscribed to TNG Productions, get yourself over to their channel and subscribe there. Loads of Walking Dead content on their channel. They're also the guys that are running Conflict as well, which is the tournament that Mantic were talking about in their blog as well. I think it was today. They were talking about it. If not, it was certainly over on Friday. I think it was today though. So yeah, get yourselves over there. You're asking, am I going to Conflict? Do you know what it is? I wanted to go, and I've got a feeling it conflicts with something I've already got. Let me double check, because I've got a feeling I was all over this when I first saw it announced, and I'm sure I didn't get a ticket because it conflicts with something. But let me check, all right? Because I'd really love to come. We've got Todd is saying the Hunters minis are rad. I think in that case, why don't we start with Fear the Hunters? So for those that are relatively new to Walking Dead, because I'm conscious it's not just you guys in the chat. Some people might watch this battle later on as well. The Walking Dead All Out War was kickstarted a while ago and was launched 2 years ago this November. And I remember because it was when I did my first ever YouTube videos, was around the Walking Dead All Out War. So that's how I know when it came out. In that, it kickstarted the launch game and the first 4 waves. So what we're about to see now with Fear the Hunters is the first wave that the Kickstarter backers haven't got. They've got everything else up till now, apart from some of the retail exclusive stuff. But this is the first wave that is basically new to everyone. So let's flick across. So what we've got here is this is what was on the Mantic blog. And essentially some of the things that are new with this Wave 5, it's introducing a few new things. First off, one of them is veteran skills. Now, veteran skills, as you've probably already read, are you buy them like upgrades. So as if you were going to buy a hunting knife, or you're going to buy a shotgun, or anything else like that. You buy them. So you can see here, 7 points for this expert shot veteran skill. And it means that in this particular case, when this model performs a ranged attack, it may force the target to discard a covered dice of their choice. So this basically upgrades, and you can put this on any one of your miniatures. But it's worth noting that if your miniature already has this expert shot as a upgrade, sort of, you know, in their special skills on their card. It doesn't stack. It doesn't get double. So there's no point taking the same veteran skill that you've already got on your character. You buy them in the same way you would do equipment. However, they don't take up a slot in your character, so they don't fill up your backpack or kind of take one of your hands or whatever, or your body or anything like that. It can be applied to any character as well, and they're not exclusive to custom survivors. So I'm just reading through my notes, see if there's anything else I can add to that. I think one thing that it doesn't mention here that is mentioned in the rulebook is the fact that you can't double stack them. So the other thing that is really interesting, and it hasn't come in any of the other waves, are these map-based campaigns. Now, the rulebook really does go into some detail on this, and it sounds really, really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I think you'll probably get a sense of this if you also go down to the conflict tournament as well in Manchester. How much can I say about this? So let's read what it says, and then I'll try and build on it without overly sharing. So basically, the campaign for Fear the Hunters is the area surrounding Washington, D.C. And it says once you've played this a few times, you'll want to create your own map. Now, it wasn't clear from the rulebook if you get this campaign map with the box set, or if you can download it online and print it yourself. It was certainly, I think it's going to be A4 sized, and you can sort of track it as you go. So you should be able to print them off yourself, or they probably will be blank ones that you can print off yourself as well. Let's have a quick look as well. So it's in the maps divided into 10 territories. 9 of these represent the influence of a particular faction, and the 10th is the urban sprawl of Washington itself. Now, what's interesting is, if anybody's played any kind of map campaigns for Warhammer Fantasy or Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40k, something like that, the way you kind of you basically battle against other players within the campaign. The winner basically can sort of take over that territory, and you try to expand your territory around. The campaigns can be played by 2 to 6 players, and what it doesn't say here, and it does say in the rules, you basically start your campaign by choosing a group of survivors up to 125 points. So that gives you an idea about the size of your campaign survivors. You can't change your survivors once you start the campaign, unless of course one of them dies, and then you can kind of bring somebody else new into it. But if somebody's not performing quite the way you thought they would, you're stuck with them now. It's a campaign, you got to stick with it. You can't change your equipment, so whatever equipment you choose at the start of the campaign, you're stuck with that as well. However, you obviously can switch it between your survivors the same way you can in the normal game. You can't take a survivor over 50 points, so that's trying to make it slightly more balanced, nothing too overpowered. And you can't take any equipment over 20 points. So that gives you a kind of a flavour for the size of your campaign survivor band, and what kind of sort of weapons and upgrades and equipment you can take as well. So, what I will say is, and it says here it's September launch. What I will say is it looks really interesting. The way you carry things over into your next fights, into your next kind of battles, your campaigns, the way you kind of battle again, the way you expand out as well and take over territories, and the benefits that gives you as well. Now, what I would say is, so one thing that did, as if you win a campaign match, you can upgrade, so you get more points to spend on other weapons, and you can add survivors to your warband, but you can never have, if I read my notes now, I'm sure I wrote down, the maximum you can ever have is 12 survivors in your little crew. So as you upgrade and you get more points, you can buy more stuff. You can upgrade, like add survivors to your band as you kind of level up, but you can only ever have a maximum of 12. But one thing that was really interesting was, and it's mentioned in here, is the underdog. So as you can imagine, if one player is kind of running away with the campaign a little bit, and they're trying to take over somebody else's territory who is much more underpowered, there's a thing called the underdog kind of bonus. And what that means is, if I can remember, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to flick off this screen so I can have a look at the rules without showing too much. Because I can't remember the point difference that you need to have to get the bonus. So let's have a look. Here it is, underdog bonus. Can I show this? Yeah, why not? We're teasing tonight, aren't we? So here, so what we've got is we've got an underdog bonus. And it says that you'll end up facing a group that's advanced much faster than your own. So basically, for every full 15 points difference between the two groups, the group with the lower points gains 1 red dice. And you can gather these up into a pool, and you can use them at any point during the game to add to an attack or a defense roll. You can use no more than 1 underdog die on a single roll, and any dice you haven't used by the end of the game are lost. So that I thought was a really nice mechanic. Try and level it up a little bit, because I think sometimes some people can get much more overpowered, if you like, and campaigns can get very offset, very unbalanced because of it. I thought that was really interesting. So before I talk about any more, let's have a quick look in the chat and see what questions we've got, because I know there's a few that's cropped up here. Neil is saying, good intro vids you put up. Thank you very much, buddy. I must get back and do a little bit more about them as well. Probably when this comes out, I'll get some more on as well. Jens is saying, first video from your channel I've seen was the one with the baby tissues tent. Yeah, I think it was like my 2nd or 3rd video ever, that one. Mark's saying it was the same one. Adam's saying, look at the lovely terrain crate at the side. Yeah, the terrain crate stuff looks beautiful, doesn't it? I must admit, if anybody's potentially thinking of picking any bits of terrain up, the terrain crate stuff looks fantastic. Let's have Dan says, can you tell of any of the veteran skills they didn't reveal in the blog? I can't actually, Dan, because what I've got in the rules doesn't show the cards themselves. Let me I'll flick back. Let me see if there's anything on. Actually, there's no in this rule book. It doesn't show you any pictures of the contents. They haven't added the pictures in yet. It's still waiting for the artwork to be added. So, so no, I can't reveal any more of those at the minute, unfortunately. Sorry. We've got Revenant Tabletop Gaming's in as well. Good evening, Anth. Hope you're well, buddy. Neil says, does the new stuff cover single player? Yes, it does. And let me go to the rules, and I'll read it to you. I don't think I can show you it. I'm sorry, that sounds terribly teasing, doesn't it? Yeah, so basically, the big thing about Wave 5 is that it's based around a narrative campaign. So all of the scenarios that you get in this Wave 5, they basically add together to create a storyline, and I'll come on to that in a second. And what you want to know is, can you play it solo? So, the campaign, it says, comprises of 7 scenarios. 3 of them are solo missions, but they can also be played cooperatively with a friend, by example, by splitting the survivors between players. And then it says chapters 3, 5, 6, and 7 are 2-player games. So, yeah, so there is some of the scenarios, or the chapters as they called in this, are designed to be solo play. And it does say to reference the original All-Out War rulebook on page 3 for the solo rules. Some of them are designed to be 2-player as well. So I hope that answers your question, Neil. Adam says, I can see Sarissa Precision loving this. Yeah, there's going to be some good stuff. Mark says 125 points is not a lot. I think that's intentional, Mark, to kind of start out quite low, because there is potential to kind of level up. If you started off at 300 or 400 points, I think it would probably become quite unwieldy as you level up later on down the line. Joseph says that's a new Michonne and Father Gabriel. Let's have a quick look. I think was it on this picture? Yeah, let's flip across to that one. Yeah, so it was on this picture, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I've seen those before, actually. Yeah, I don't remember, if I'm honest. Thought I had, but maybe I haven't. Adam says, are they named survivors or are they custom? They're named survivors, so you do get some survivors. It actually, what I would say is the scenarios or the chapters, they tell you which models to use as recommended to recreate the story from the graphic novels. But they do say that if you haven't bought all of the expansions and you don't have the characters that they talk about, it gives you some information how to create your own kind of custom characters or to use characters that you've already got. So that's really useful. It's not kind of, I remember there was a little bit of kind of confusion, I think, in the original chapters, in the original expansions, that it was maybe talking about characters that hadn't come out yet. Maybe there was a bit of a crossover, but this one really does give you a good kind of option to use existing models that you have, or to use the ones that would really have been in the story. We've got Division 1 Champs is in. Good evening. That he's already behind on painting his Walking Dead miniatures, and now another wave to unnecessarily throw him on it. It's never unnecessary. You do it because you love it. Todd says, will Mantic be releasing a retail deal prison supervisor mini? I don't, if I remember right, is the prison, is that the deal one that's the one that's in the show exclusive one, I think, isn't it, at the moment? I don't think there's any plans. I think normally what happens, I think they sometimes end up in the Mantic points section. They might release it at some point, but I think that would normally be the plan, I think. Division 1 Champ says, yeah, I believe the deal advisor is going to stay event exclusive. We've got Horrid Person in as well. Good evening, bud. Seeing how nice the Lee and Clem figures are. Bob says, any idea if there are new figures coming in Wave 5? Yes, there is. I think, let me double check it. I think one of these might have actually shown which figures you get. I think, if I remember right, that is potentially, I could be completely wrong, so please don't hate me if I've got this wrong, but I think these are the miniatures that you get. That's Abraham, isn't it? And I haven't actually, it doesn't show you in the rule book which miniatures you get, so I apologize if I've got that wrong, but there's definitely miniatures with Wave 5. I just can't confirm which ones they are at the minute. Right, we've got yeah, sorry, everybody's answering it for me. He's got, yeah, Bob it says it's the Hunters, Rosita and Abraham are in Wave 5. That's what I just saw there, yeah. Gary says, will you be doing any more Walking Dead battle reports, maybe a linked campaign? I think when I delve a bit more into the rules for this Wave 5, it will really lend itself to some really kind of campaigny videos, so I'd love to do them. My brother-in-law, I introduced him to kind of miniatures games a while ago through The Walking Dead, and for his birthday, he actually asked for Walking Dead stuff, and he's just started painting his first ever miniatures, which are some walkers from that set as well. So yeah, I kind of got somebody else to play with now. I know Revenant Tabletop Gaming as well doesn't live too far away from me, so I'm sure he'll come and have some games as well. So that would be quite good, actually. I'd like to do that. Horrid Person says he saw pics of Wave 5 on the Walking Dead group. They look good. Even more mounted figures. Mark says it's Glenn and Maggie on horseback. Gary says, wonder if there's rules to drive vehicles only have the starter box set. There isn't. I didn't see any rules for driving vehicles in this Wave 5 expansion. But I think there might be potentially, am I reading this right? Did I read somewhere, and this isn't kind of from the rules I've got, I thought I'd read somewhere that there was some rules about entering and exiting vehicles potentially when it comes around to the skirmish game. I might have misread that, but I thought that's what I'd read. Revenant says that 50-point limit means Rick and Negan are out. I think could be a mistake though. I can't remember their numbers off the top of my head. If the TNG guys are in, they might already know. So, Joseph says the Michonne's out the new set with the Governor. It's on the Mantic website shop now. Thank you for that. Thanks for confirming that. Jimmy's in, says evening. Sorry he's late. Unexpectedly melted on the way upstairs. Yeah, I think you can see from my glowing face here and shiny head, it's a little bit warm tonight as well. We've got I Am Legend. Good evening, buddy. Says he's excited for Wave 5. TNJ are saying you can get the deal in the Conflict swag bag. Yep, a little bit of a plug there as well. The swag bag is absolutely fantastic. If you read the Mantic blog today, it tells you a lot more information about it. But the swag bag, the value of that, I think was £75 already. And I think the tickets are £25. So you're getting fantastic value for that. Horrid Person says they release the event models in mail order when the event's alive. Yeah, so you don't have to go to an event. They're just only available when there's an event on. Yeah, that's a good point to remember, actually. Neil says the game and characters hit my eye. I must collect them all. Yeah, I'm the same as well, I must admit. I still have a few to paint, but yeah, need to definitely collect them all. We've got Phil Wilkinson in. Evening, buddy. I'm Legend says we need Fear of Walking Dead crews as well. I don't think you'll get them because they were never part of the graphic novels, were they? It's just the TV series. Joseph is saying Negan 70 points, Rick is 56. So I think what that means is that really, for the campaign, you really are talking about the survivors that are kind of the core survivors rather than the kind of the heroes, which I think brings a nice kind of thematic story to it. And it stops, from what I understand, I think when people play it very, very competitively, kind of Negan's almost an auto-include. So I think that will help level that one out. So let me flick back so I don't give too much away again. What was I talking about as well? I was talking about something and I said I would come on to it later on. So yes, story mode. So there are, if I remember right, I think did I say there was 7? There's 7 chapters in this Wave 5 expansion, and if you've got the other expansions, so the one before this was the Made to Suffer, which is the one in the prison. If you've got that, if you play the last chapter from Made to Suffer, which was chapter 6, you can then carry on from that story into Wave 5. And basically what happens is, you can play them as kind of as a full kind of campaign, if you like, or a full story arc. And whatever happens in one game affects what happens in the next game, which I found was really, really interesting from a kind of from that kind of campaign, from that story mode, if you like. So, for example, and I'll try not to give too much away here. What it says is, if you own the Made to Suffer expansion, you can link the scenarios from that box to the ones in this book to make a continuous narrative. There is rules here on character deaths and injuries that are in this. And basically what you could do is you add that to whatever happened in the end of the Made to Suffer Escape the Prison chapter, and then you continue with the Fear the Hunters chapter 1 and carry it on through. And there's rules in here that basically tell you what to apply. What, you know, it might mean that your model isn't as strong as it says on the card. It almost influences it. They might be stronger if you kind of succeed in that campaign. There's that kind of thing. I won't go into too much, and it does affect how many walkers there are and things like that. But what I would say is I think it's a really, really interesting idea. If you're playing it solo, you can kind of play through all of these kind of chapters, make the story. If you're just playing with like a local gaming buddy or something like that, or a couple of guys from your club, you can kind of play that through as a real story. If you get 3, 4, 5, 6 people together, you can then play this as the map campaign thing. So it's really, really interesting. I like the way basically it tells you who the recommended people are to kind of use for this, and then basically says if you don't have those models, there's an alternative kind of group of up to X number of points. So I think that's really, really fun. I like the way that works. One thing I would say as well, I'm just scrolling there right to the end of the rule book, is that there is something called let's scroll all the way. Is that there's a multiplayer scenario which is basically called Free for All, and it does. Across. Let's go back here. It does actually mention it on the blog, so I'm pretty sure I'm all right sharing some of this stuff as well. It's a brand new scenario, Free for All. It's for 3 or more players, and it's played on a 40-inch by 40-inch gaming area, divided up into 16 10-inch squares. Each player is trying to score 15 victory points. And it's done by collecting supply counters littered across the playing area. It says you're going to have to be quick because the threat level ticks up as normal, but if it reaches maximum, it's game over and it counts as a draw. So let me just flick back so I don't share too much. I'm sorry about this, guys. I'm honestly, I'm not sure how much I can share, so I'm trying to give you some stuff without basically just showing you the whole rule book, because that's not fair on Mantic either. So yeah, 40 by 40 gaming area. Basically the victory conditions are is that a player scores 1 victory point for every supply counter in their position at the end of a turn, and it gets added to a running total. And the game ends when 1 player reaches 15 victory points, in which case that player wins and everyone else loses. If 2 or more players reach this total at the end of the same turn, there's a draw and everybody else loses. If any player is eliminated entirely out of their group, they'll lose regardless of victory points. So if, for example, in one turn, if you reached 15 victory points and then lost the last of your group, you've lost. Even though you got 15 victory points, you've got nobody left to claim them. So I thought that was quite a nice little addition. So from this wave 5, you've got a campaign mode that you can play on your own, or with another player as an entire full story. We've got a map-based campaign, which lets you kind of play as a gaming group or as a group of people, up to 6 people, competing against to try and get control of zones on the map. And you've also got this multiplayer kind of free-for-all scenario. It really is sort of packed with extra ways to play, extra things to do with the existing Walking Dead miniatures as well. And there's a real sort of teaser and a taste for what we're going to see when we come onto the skirmish game kind of down the line as well. So let's have a little look in the chat as well. We've got Marcus saying that Liam, Sophie and Carl for the win. Anthony saying, will they still be bound by their faction? Good point. Let me just double check on that one, because I'm pretty sure I read something about it. Is that they are still bound by their kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're kind of their allegiance or their alliance, if you like. Where are we? So trying to read it now. Participants. The leader of each group is marked as L in the scenarios. I think on the narrative campaign, that's where I probably read it. Let me see it. So it's not within the stories. Sorry, I'm kind of I'm just playing catch up and reading some of it as well. So yeah, so yeah, the starting group may not include any models from other factions, although neutral models may be recruited by any faction as usual. So yeah, so it's you do have to kind of stay within their factions as well. We've got Hal Martin in, says, good day, Andy. Hope all is well. Everything is very well. Thank you, Hal. Thanks for coming in. Joseph says, does anyone know when Wave 5 and Here's Negan is out? Wave 5 is September. Here's Negan is November. All this year. We've got Alex is in tonight as well. Alex Body, nice to see you, buddy. There's just caught a tail end of this, but looking forward to watching it all tomorrow, though. Alex always seems to catch up the next day and then gives me a load of questions as well. So good to see you, Alex, mate. I hope you're well. Tony says, hi all, have I missed much? Tony, you've missed quite a bit, buddy. We've been talking about Wave 5. So, yeah, we've actually kind of covered quite a bit of it so far. But, yeah, you'll have to catch up on that bit tomorrow. But any questions you've got about it, drop them in the chat and I'll try and answer them as well before we move on to Here's Negan a bit later. Alex is saying, need to get my all-out war stuff back and drag to the table. You definitely do, buddy. You definitely do. And I think this wave for you specifically, because I know you're more of a board game type person as well, it's definitely more kind of campaign. It's more story driven. It's more about pushing the narrative really, rather than a very competitive kind of me versus you. It's about driving the story. So I think you'll enjoy this one. We've got Underdog Peyton is in. Nice to see you, Bazza. How you doing, mate? Oh, we've just got Broken Legion of Gamer has just donated through Super Chat as well. Thank you very much, dear viewer. I really appreciate it. That's very nice of you. Wasn't expecting that. As you can see, we had the little zombie walking across the screen there, specifically for our Walking Dead chat tonight, just on the off chance. And we've got Yen saying, have to start painting again. Bazza says he's just chilling. Wife's gone away for a week with the kids. Oh, Bazza, you've got a house to yourself. You've got all the time in the world to yourself, and you're spending it watching me. I'm honoured, matey. I'm honoured, honestly. Thank you very much for tuning in, mate, and dropping by. So one thing I would say as well, and I'm not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but to get the best out of this Wave 5 expansion, it does say to use the contents of this expansion, you need a copy of the Walking Dead All Out War core set and the Days Gone By expansion. Now, I'm not sure if that's if that's new news to everybody. It was news to me, but I'm not sure if it was kind of news to everyone. But what I would say is that one of the reasons for that is that the scenarios in the book are very much kind of driven by kind of the forest, if you like, the forest based, if you like, and the scenery from the Days Gone By expansion works really, really well. So that's definitely just a little thing to kind of to add to it as well. So we've got Gary is saying, will all the new features for Wave 5 be in a box set? I've got no idea how it's going to be boxed, to be honest, Gary. I've literally only got the rules. It doesn't even tell me which models are included, but I'm sure they've been shared. What I would say is, I assume it'll be boxed like the other Wave 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4 expansions as well. That's my idea. Haven't seen anything that would suggest otherwise, but I think that's the case. I've just realised as well, Broken Legion of Gamers, excuse me, is a new channel. There's a guy just starting out doing his YouTube stuff for the first time. He's a member of my Facebook group as well, and he's just starting to do some stuff as well. A little bit about 40k. Also, really interested in Walking Dead as well. So, while I really appreciate the donation, that's not why I'm saying this. It's just reminded me now who it is. Anybody wants to go out and check out a new YouTuber, new channel, going to be doing some Walking Dead stuff, please head over and give them a subscription as well to check it out. Tony is saying, yeah, I'm all over Here's Negan, and the minis are going to be able to be used in air or all out war, apparently, which is incredible. Yeah, I'm going to come on to Here's Negan a bit later on. What I would say for that is you can use the miniatures in All Out War. However, in order to get the cards that allow you to use them in All Out War, they're only available as part of the pre-order at this point in time. That might change in the future, but they're only available if you pre-order Here's Negan. You have got up till November to pre-order it, so there's no rush to kind of sort of fork out the money at the minute. But as far as I'm aware, you only get those by pre-ordering. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat. I'm trying to remember what I was saying as well. Sorry. Bazza says, my pleasure, fella. Been painting a bit of Stormcast. Just built some Orc Boys for Kill Team. No doubt I'll build a 10,000 point army. Yeah, definitely. There's, yeah, I think I saw, what was it? I saw you've been painting. Forget now, it might have been the Stormcast I saw a picture of. I might be getting that wrong, Bazza, but drop some pictures in the Facebook group, mate. I'll have a look at them later on as well. I Am Legend is saying, that's awesome. Do you think the Here Comes Negan box will be released for the regular All Out War boosters or just exclusive to that game? Let me just get my head around what you're asking there. The Negan figures. Yes, I think that just kind of comes on what I was talking about. You will be able to use them in All Out War. You'll only get the cards if you pre-order Here's Negan. However, there's nothing stopping you. If you don't get the pre-order cards, there's nothing stopping you using those models as your own kind of create your own survivor kind of models, I suppose. Gary Honda says, that's a big glass of vodka. It's actually just water and ice. It is so hot in here. I mean, you can see from my shiny cheeks here. It's so hot, mate, with these lights on and stuff. Sun today. I'm kind of getting off topic now. I got in the car. I was in Manchester today, and I got in the car to drive home. And the car said it was 35 degrees. It was like an oven when I got in it, and I had a 170 mile to drive home. And even when I was moving with the aircon on it, it was still showing that it was kind of 30 degrees outside. I couldn't believe how hot it's been today. Broken Legion of Gamer says, thank you for the shout out and plug. No problem at all, buddy. We all started YouTube at some point. It's nice to get a little bit of a kind of, to get the word out there. It's hard. So yeah, please keep doing what you're doing. You've got some good videos up, mate. Bazza saying he's just subbed to Broken Legion of Gamers. Thank you, Bazza. Jens is saying gin and tonic. Don't actually like gin. Vodka I probably could have done. Gin's not really my drink. Adam says, how many walkers have you got painted? Me personally, I think I've probably got about 30 or something like that. About 30 walkers, I think. Bazza saying he'll post a video on your group. Thanks, mate. And anybody that's a member of the Facebook group, head over later on, check out Bazza's painting as well. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, why not head over and be a member of the Facebook group? There'll be a description or a link to the Facebook group in the list at the bottom of this video as well. Broken Legion Gamer says new rules content we are getting in Fear the Hunters seems to be the most we're getting in a new expansion to date. I would say so. I think what we've seen is we've seen an evolution of The Walking Dead. So the core set had the kind of the basic rules, get the grips with it, understand how the game works. Each expansion after that kind of added a little bit of rules. So if I remember rightly, the Days Gone By was the first one, added in kind of rules for fire with Molotov cocktails and the campfire and things. And each subsequent one has added something new to the rule set just to kind of keep it fresh. This one for me is the biggest jump in just the amount of content you're getting from a rules perspective. Really looking forward to playing it as a kind of narrative story where what happens in one story in one chapter affects what happens in the next one. I think that's a fantastic addition, and I'm also looking forward to kind of hopefully getting enough people together to play it as a bit of a campaign as well. So yeah, what's everyone think of that then? Have I teased enough that you've actually kind of got some new stuff out of this? Because I must admit I had like an hour and a half to do a bit of prep for tonight, so I hope I've given you some new information that you didn't already know about, and I hope if Rob says this, I hope I haven't given too much away. So hope that's good. Jimmy has seen he's been painting his Tower Kill team, a new Stormcast Lord Arcanum, and some evocators for our Path to Glory campaign. Excuse me. So not want to concentrate on one single game for a while, mate. Want to do a little bit of everything. We've got miniature painters in. Nice to see you, Michael. How are you doing, buddy? Another big fan of Mantic stuff. Jens is saying hello as well. We've got the Belgians and the Dutch having a little bit of a chat again. Michael says he was here from the beginning, but was in the car listening to it. So that's it. I'm now like a mobile DJ across the roads of Holland now as well. Broken Legion says Days Gone By also gave us the rules for custom characters. I forgot about that as well. Yes, it did. And Steve is just saying hi there. So yeah, hopefully I've kind of teased a little bit more of that there. What I would say, I mean, there's a lot more in there as well. It does tell you a bit more about the narrative campaigns, about how the deaths and the injuries work, but I think I'll leave that little bit as well for Mantic to share. I won't tell you about the chapters as well, because some of the stories are really interesting as well, but I'll leave that bit for Mantic as well. They can share some of that stuff. I'm just flicking through to see what else there is. There's some of the victory conditions are really interesting as well. And if I flick down, yeah, so the map campaign stuff does really sound interesting. But no doubt that will be in a sure they'll go into a bit more depth on that as well at some point. So Jens, German and Dutch. Why have I got Belgian in my head? I think that's because who is it that's Belgian again? There's somebody else comes in that's from Belgium. I forgot the name now. That's terrible. Too many names to try and remember all you guys. Rob saying the FFA game type sounds like a good way to keep the game feeling fresh. The free for all stuff does it. I know. Who was it that was telling me? I think it was. Oh, let me double check who it was. Somebody was talking to me about All Out War, saying it had basically gone off the boil in his gaming group. It was Carl from Black Country Wargamer, and that was it. And he was saying that basically his group became very competitive. Everybody kind of maxed out their squads, and it became almost mirror matches. I think if you try and play it competitively, I guess that's kind of what potentially happens. What this does is it really gets it back to that story-driven narrative game that everyone kind of fell in love with originally. Jamie's saying too many games, too little time. I don't disagree, buddy. I don't disagree at all. Horrid person saying my desert well and finally dried. I'm working on an AOS vampire, doing some experiments with trees too. Nice one, buddy. Nice one. Plenty on your plate there. Michael says it was Patrick. That's exactly who it was. I couldn't think of who it was. Adam is saying he's drinking Belgium. Fries are from Belgium. Jamie says it's on days like this when it gets too hot I leave the beard oil at home. And yes, the mold lines. To be honest, I think if you leave your miniatures on the windowsill, they actually melt so that you don't see any mold lines. You actually don't see a model either. They just turn into a pile of grey plastic. But yeah, you don't get any mold lines anymore. Tony's saying must get AOA All Out War. When I see AOW, I always think of Age of Sigmar. Sorry, must get All Out War on the table again soon, as I've got a ticket for Conflict tournament, and it's been a while since I've played, so I've probably forgotten the rules. If you're gonna go to any tournament, mate, the Conflict one will definitely be I think it'll be good natured, so that it doesn't really matter if you don't remember the rules. I think there'll be people on hand to keep you right, mate. Certainly to keep you right. Tim says, yeah, chuff the mold lines. Chuff's a better word. I'm not going to use bad words on this stream tonight. I'm going to be good. I'm going to keep it there family friendly, I think. Michael says, yeah, then have melt lines. I don't think you get any lines. You'll just get just a pile of plastic. And Tim says, Badger Golden Ale, beautiful stuff. Right. So, how are we doing for timeout? 10 to 10. I think it's about time we started talking about Here's Negan. So, that's as much as I'm going to show you from the rulebook today. So this is what Rob has sent me today. It looks finished. I'll be honest. All of the artwork's in there. It looks like it is the real deal. It doesn't look like it's going to be updated. So hopefully everything that I share tonight shouldn't be changing anytime soon. So let's have a look at. Let's have a look at what do we know already about Negan, so that I can make sure that I don't share too much just yet. Just want to say thank you to Mantic as well for retweeting about this stream tonight. We've got quite a few people in, so hopefully some of you have come from Mantic sharing it as well. So, if anybody is at Gen Con, make sure you grab a ticket for the Mantic night, where you'll be able to try this game out for yourself. I'm assuming that's going to be one of the first times it'll be shared. I think the guys at Conflict as well. I think if you go to the Conflict tournament in Manchester, I think they've also got to be able to play it as well. So that'll be good. What it says now about this is that reputation is everything. One of the key elements in Here's Negan is the idea of reputation. And although the game is a co-op experience for up to 5 players, you're all trying to impress the main man. Now, what I would say is you can play this solo as well. So for all it is up to 5 players, you can play it as solo. The only thing that you have to do is you'll have to control a couple of survivors yourself. So don't just play with one survivor. You'll not be able to kind of to get very far in the game. Choose a couple of survivors and control them both. But you're basically Negan kind of rewards you for doing good stuff, and he punishes you for doing bad stuff during the game. So if you kill a walker or you clear a room, or you manage to lower the threat level, Negan basically gives you reputation points. And if you get him into trouble, so for example, when it comes to Negan's turn, if there's walkers alongside him, basically he isn't too happy about it, and you will feel the wrath of Lucille, basically. So for all it is a cooperative game, you're trying to get Negan basically out of a building. You're trying to protect him. You basically win or lose the game as a cooperative. There is a competitive element in there as well, is because as you're racking up reputation points, there will be kind of Negan's favorite, basically the person that gets the most points. So it's a cooperative game where there's also that little bit of competitive edge to it as well. So basically what they're saying is that you basically don't piss off Negan. It says no one gets to play as Negan himself, which is really interesting because back at UK Games Expo, I was chatting to Martin, who is the marketing manager, and he was telling me about Here's Negan, and he said that basically there was always this feeling of, well, everyone's going to want to be Negan, aren't they? That's the whole point. He's the title character. And he said they were kind of trying to get their head around how to make that work. And as soon as they decided that actually Negan is controlled by the game, everything else kind of clicked into place, which I think is a really smart move. So Negan is controlled by the game in the same way the walkers are controlled by the game. And I think that gives a really kind of a really interesting mechanic. So not only are you, if you're playing this solo, for example, not only are you worried about what the walkers are doing, you're worrying about what Negan's doing as well. And it gives you that real kind of sense of like multiple threats, which I think sounds really interesting. I've just seen Tony say something here. He says, I hate escort missions in video games, but this sounds great. They kind of are escort missions, I suppose. However, it's the way you get rewarded or punished by how successfully you're doing it. And I'll come on to kind of how it works as we come on a little bit. So yeah, that's really, really kind of interesting. There is still walkers in this. So basically, you're trying to get Negan basically through a building, and walkers are the threat. So he won't kind of go in and open up a room. He's sending you ahead of him to kind of clear the areas, and it's your job to clear the path for him to safely get out. And if you let walkers get by you and they get a Negan, won't be tired. He'll make sure that you kind of you know about it. Now, I thought what was interesting was, and I'm kind of coming on to some of the mechanics now as well, is that Negan kind of does one of 3 or 4 things, I think, basically. So he'll always kind of take the shortest route through the building. So that's what he's trying to do. If there's walkers beside him, he'll basically he'll fight them off, but it will increase the threat level. I think that's right. I'll come on to it in a second. If you kind of leave him kind of out in the open a bit, he'll give you a prod with Lucille. If you're too far away from him, then you kind of leave him hanging out there. He'll basically shout at you, and what that does is create noise, and then the walkers move. So it is really interesting the way that kind of that works. There's equipment, as there is in normal Walking Dead games, and there's random rooms as well. So you'll never be sure what's around the next corner thanks to the room deck. Each time you unlock a room, you need to draw a card from the room deck. So it could reveal a store packed with bountiful supplies, a caved-in corridor that's impassable, or a mortuary stacked high with the undead. So I thought this was really, really interesting, actually. Well, let's have a look at my notes as well, so I can tell you what I picked out of my notes, the things that I'm really kind of excited for this. Because I'll be honest, when I first saw Here's Negan, I loved it because it was kind of The Walking Dead, but I didn't know a lot really about the game itself. This is really kind of really whet my appetite now, and I can't wait to give it a go now. So what have I got in my notes? So there is one thing there is in Here's Negan is there's random walkers. So what you basically do is you are walking down through the building, through corridors, and you think of it thematically, like you can hear noises, you can hear scratching, you can hear groaning, and to represent that, there is a walker token on the board. You don't know how many walkers there is where you can hear this noise kind of coming. It's not until you get line of sight to that token that you spot it. You flip the token over, and it will tell you basically how many dice to roll and what color dice to roll on the back of the token. You then roll those dice, and that will tell you how many walkers appear at that particular spot. So it's another example of keeping the game quite random. So playthroughs of the same mission, if you like, or the same scenario don't become stale. So it's random kind of walkers to deal with. It's random rules because you've got to pull from the room deck. They've really kind of thought this through so that you can get multiple players and get repeat players out of this game as well. Let's tease some of the contents tonight. I'm not even sure if I should be. Tell you what, let me know down in the comments. You want to see what comes in the box, right? Let me know down in the comments because I'm not. If you guys all want to see it, then I'll share it, but I'm not sure if I should, to be honest. What else we got? We've got Shaggy Wargamers come in as well. Nice to see you, buddy. Hope you're well, mate. Division 1 Champions are saying, I like the pre-order, gives you the Outwar specific character cards. There's been a little bit of kind of, some people think it's a good idea, some people think it's a bad idea. I like the idea that there's little bonuses for pre-ordering. Some people are saying that they should come in the box already, but then I guess there will be people who just buy this and have no comprehension that kind of the Walking Dead All Out War exists. So it would be confusing to understand what they're in there. Maybe they come as Mantic points later on down the line. So yeah, Jens says looks great, but I think the price could be a little bit high. Maybe. I think if I remember right, I'm guessing now at the price. Let me bring up the Mantic site. I've got 60 quid in my head, £60. Let me have a look at that. It's definitely up for pre-order. Have a double check on this one. I don't want to say that it's 60 quid if it's not. Or have a look in the shop. We'll fit across here and see what I'm looking at. Here's Negan. So yeah, here is that it's a pre-order exclusive included. So yeah, $59.99 from Mantic. So it doesn't really tell you, does it, what's in the box? So there's a picture there. Oh, it does. So you can kind of see here. So we've got the Negan character, obviously. We've got, tell you what, let me show you what you get, because I can see there's a few saying, yeah, sure, Ronnie's a big softie. Here we go then. So what you get in the box, let me zoom in a little bit. So I don't know how well they show. Oh no, that's it. It's coming a little bit now. So you get the Negan character. You get Dwight. Looks like he's got a knife there. And it looks like he's got a crossbow on his back as well. So as you can see here from the cards, this is Dwight's card. You can see basically they come with kind of defined weapons, but you can upgrade them. We've got Laura here. Looks like she's got some kind of M16 machine gun. We've got John. Looks like he's carrying some kind of a crowbar. We've got Tara. She looks like she's got a knife in her hand there. And we've got Sherry. Looks like she's carrying a revolver. And these basically guys are the survivors. And then you get 12 Walker miniatures. Now I think what I don't think these are exclusive Walkers, anything different. These look like they're Walkers that are also available in All Out War as well. So you get there's 5 survivor cards, obviously for the 5 different characters. This is why you can play it kind of up to 5 players. So each person controls one of the characters. Or if you play it solo, you kind of control a couple of them, or as many as you want, really. There's some activation tokens and stamina counters. There's a little Lucille Bat first player token, which I thought was a nice little kind of a nice little addition. So if you've got the Walking Dead, the Kickstarter, you got a plastic sheriff's badge, you'll remember, which is basically the activation to say whose priority kind of turn it is. In here, you get this little Lucille Bat. There's Negan and Walker reference cards. So these are the reference cards that tell you what you do with Negan when it's his turn, what you do with the Walkers when it's their turn. You get dice, you get trackers, you get. So some of this is the kind of the scenery that you get. So you've got gas barrels, you've got supply tokens, doors, locked doors, air ducts. There's exit markers, weapons lockers, barricades, furnace, first aid station. You get 16 board tiles, which are also double-sided. These are the Walker tokens I was talking about. So basically, there's a different color on each side, a different color dice. This will tell you what color dice to roll. This will determine how many Walkers come in. You've got a threat tracker as well. And there is 27 event cards. There's 24 Negan action cards, 24 room cards, and 24 supply cards. So I think I've teased quite a bit there. So you can actually see, what you actually get in the box. So £59 or £60 might seem like a little bit at first, but there is a hell of a lot of stuff that comes in the box as well. So personally, priced against other kind of board games of that ilk, I would say I don't think it's particularly expensive. Obviously, you could weigh up whether you want to go for the pre-order as well and get the pre-order bonus, or if you want to hang on and try and get it at your local gaming store, maybe a little bit cheaper as well. But yeah, so yeah, we've got a lot of Jamie saying don't do it. Somebody else says do it. Everyone's saying of course you want to do it. Tony says Ronnie's a big softie. Well, you might never get to see that I shared this. Who knows? You might never see it. You might not know that I've showed you this. Shaggy is saying, as Brad Pitt said, what's in the box? I tell you what's not in the box. Gwyneth Paltrow's head is not in the Hayes Negan box. Michael is saying, price-wise, it's awesome. If you buy 4 packs of characters, that's 4 times £15. Yep. Adam says he's 50-50. I think I'd rather get Star Saga, but obviously I've pre-ordered Kill Team. So, Star Saga, again, fantastic value. Everyone raves about how good it is as well. I would also say as well that this game has been written by Mark Latham, who did the original Walking Dead game as well. So, he's obviously got that kind of Walking Dead mechanics in his mind as well, and there's a lot of it carries over into this game. If you like The Walking Dead and you want to play something that's almost kind of like a one-off sort of story game, this is also a good option. Mark's saying, really interested in this. The price tag's not greedy at all. My only little nitpick is the walker models are ones I already have, with some already have multiple of them. Yeah, I mean, I think there's two sides to that, right? I think one would be that there's plenty of other zombie walker games where you pretty much get one or two walkers just spammed again and again and again. So, for example, I'm just looking at it on my shelf over there, I've got Last Night on Earth by Flying Frog Productions, and there's basically one type of zombie, and you just get lots of them inside the box. Mantic, when they brought out Walking Dead, I thought it was fantastic that they put loads of effort into having multiple different kinds of zombies. What I would say is it the end of the world that you've got multiples of them? It would have been nice to get different versions, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to affect the game. And you can definitely paint them slightly differently as well. You can always kit bash them a bit as well, chop an arm off or something like that, or kind of paint them slightly differently. So personally, it doesn't bother me, but I can see why people are on both sides of that fence. Michael says £52, play the minis, £7 for the game isn't bad. Division 1 Champion says, I agree about the same walkers, they should be different. Yeah, I appreciate that. Steve saying he's back, that work broke out. Welcome back, Steve. Jamie says, but then the game wouldn't be £59 if it had all new sculpts. Very good point, buddy. Gene is saying, I cut up the walkers like I did with other extras. Yep, as I just mentioned there. Jamie saying, Mark saying, Jamie, I think you get a lot for your money. Tony saying, I've paid more for less. This one's an auto buy for me. I've certainly paid more for less as well, actually. Personally, I think it is. Is it a bargain? It's not a bargain, but I think you're definitely getting what you pay for. It's not like it's kind of all this for 20 quid kind of thing. I think it is a really good game from reading the rules, and I think the content for what you're paying for it is good value. I think you're definitely getting it. Few people saying bits and pieces. Jimmy's saying, what's even better than 59? 58 is even better than 59. Tony's saying, spoiler, dude, I haven't seen the movie. Sorry, man, I've just completely spoiled it there for you. Adam says, I'll keep stum. Jamie's saying 20% off on pre-orders. Yeah, if you're going to buy it from your local store, I think that's why Mantic have obviously got the all-out war cards as well as pre-order bonus. So I guess if you factor in that you're getting stuff that means you can use it in all-out war, then is that worth paying the extra for as well to pre-order it? Tony's saying he has seen it really. Jens is saying yeah, he'll get it. Michael's saying he's got a pre-order on his store. And Adam is saying, look for Project Z from Warlord. They have variants of male and female zombies, really good sculpts. And then we've just got Andy in as well from Peninsula. Painting Projects has just dipped in as well. Bonjour to you too, buddy. So, what else can I share about Here's Negan? Let's get my notes back out again as well. So, there's 4 phases to the game. So there's the Survivor phase, which is the bit where you basically move your Survivor models and you do all the bits and pieces that you need to do. There is then a Walker phase, where the Walkers all move around by their rules. You then get, the Here's Negan phase, which is the bit where he decides whether he's happy with what you're doing, or whether he's a bit upset and he wants to give you a nice little tap with Lucille, or whether he's going to scream from the rafters and create a load of noise. And then you've got the end phase, which is basically where you kind of you do all of your tidy up of tokens and everything else. So it's really interesting. It's the way it's kind of set out. So you do your stuff, Walkers do their stuff, Negan does his stuff, and then it's basically tidy up and reset. There is can I say this? Yeah, I can say it. Oh, it's after 10 o'clock, isn't it? Yeah, it's after 10 o'clock. I'm just going to say I'm not sure if I should share this bit or not, but there's 12 scenarios in it as well. So there's 12. So remember, even one scenario won't play the same twice, because you get random rooms. Sorry, you'll get random amounts of walkers on the board as well. So things, and obviously because it's dice mechanics, things will happen differently. But then there is 12 different scenarios. and they gradually basically get harder. It recommends you start with the first one and work your way through. They gradually get harder as they go. That can be by the amount of walkers that are on the board, the amount of rooms that you can uncover, that kind of stuff. What is really interesting, and I'm pretty sure this has not been talked about yet, is the survival mode. And this was one thing that really, really interested me, and I think actually kind of just made this an obvious choice for me personally anyway. And that is the fact that you can play these 12 scenarios back to back. And you, again, like Wave 5 of the Walking Dead All Out War, what happens in one scenario carries over and has effect into the next scenario. And it makes a really kind of a tough version of the game to play. So you're not just playing it as one-offs, it's almost like a mini campaign through the 12 scenarios, which sounds absolutely fantastic. And when you read the rules and understand kind of how that works, I won't go into details. I think Mantic will probably share more on that one. But I was surprised that Mantic hadn't talked about this. Maybe they have. Let me know in the comments if you've heard about this already. I've not seen this anywhere, but I thought it was a really important part of the game, and that actually for anybody that's into that kind of campaign mode or into kind of like more of even an RPG version, really, it just gives something else to a board game. So you can play it as a one-off, you can play it solo, you can play it just kind of, you know, sitting having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever it is with a buddy. Sit and play it as a one-off, just board game. Looks like it'll play relatively quickly. Or if you really want to kind of get into it, you can play this as a survival mode basically, and play it right the way through the whole story arc, with kind of losing survivors as you go, as maybe some of them die on the way. I'm just surprised that kind of that hasn't come out yet. Really, I'm surprised that hasn't already been. That's not new. I'm surprised that isn't already known. So maybe it is known. Let me know in the comments if you already knew about that bit, but certainly I didn't. What else have we got? What are the notes? Let's have a quick look. Is there anything I can kind of give you a little teaser? Let's have a look. I tell you what, we want to have a look at the cards a little bit. Yeah, have a little bit look about how it works. So, what we've got here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So, what we've got here is, this is basically a survivor's card. So we've got the fight dice here, which basically it's their skill of fighting up close with the enemy. We've got the shoot dice. So if you know from Walking Dead All Out War, let me just basically, these are red dice, white dice, there's blue dice, and there's still the black 50-50 dice as well. So you've got fight, shoot, and defense. You've then got this stamina. So this is how many kind of points of health they have. When it gets down to the skull, you're out of there. This is their weapons. So obviously you've got a ranged weapon here and a close combat weapon. And then you also have their reputation. And you kind of, this is how Negan is rewarding them, either by giving them a higher reputation or taking reputation points away from them. This is how you track how successful they're doing. Yeah, so fight, shoot, defense. They've got the special rule as well, so they've got a special rule on here. This one says Dwight can move however many spaces if I can't read it. Something if of three when performing a move action. In addition, Dwight can re-roll the black dice to see if he causes noise when running. So obviously you can walk and you can run as well. So that gives you a bit more information about the stat cards. Let me see if I can share anything else that I can share without going into too much detail. What can I'll scroll out a little bit so you can't necessarily read it. I'm sure somebody will get a freeze frame. But so here we've got Negan's reference card, and this basically tells you what happens in the Here's Negan phase. So one of two things happen. He either takes an action card, and the card will tell you what he does, and that's if he's not in any kind of trouble when it gets to his phase. If he's in trouble, then you will feel Negan's rage, and there is a number of things that happen if that happens. And again, Negan has points of stamina as well. When he gets to the skull, Negan's dead. You've lost the game. So I think I've teased a couple of things there as well that you probably don't know about. I think I've given kind of some new information. I feel like I have. Let's see what everyone's saying here. We've got Jens is having a bit of a chat here. See you all maybe next Monday, and of course on Facebook next week. Then with Kill Team in our hands. Of course, that's released next weekend. Thanks for coming, Jens. See you again soon. Broken Legion of Gamers says Ronnie should give you a commission because I didn't know about All Out War character cards with the pre-order. I was going to wait until retail, but I'll be pre-ordering through Mantic Games now. There you go. Thank you for thank you for shouting out for me. I'll be quite happy to have a commission. Michael says, speak to you soon, Jens. Tim says it sounds cracking. Tony is saying, I do like the knock-on effects idea. Sounds like a whole extra edge to it. Yeah, I like the fact that you can kind of play it as one-off games, or you can have some kind of campaign mode to it as well. Tony's also saying the continuity and art style seems to have been done well. Yeah, it really. If you've got Walking Dead All Out War, or you're familiar with it, which I'm guessing most of you guys will do, or guys and girls, I should say, you'll recognize it. It really does feel very, very familiar and very, very Walking Dead, I would say. Mark says, if I knock tabletop gaming live on the head, I can get this. In other words, I'm getting this. So, thanks, Mark. What I will say is, sorry, tabletop gaming live, you've just lost the ticket sale. Congratulations, Mantic, you've just gained the sale. Yeah, it's one for me as well. It's kind of, I love games where I can play solo, or I can play like with my wife, or with my older kids, or with my friends. I also like the fact, as you all know, I ain't a fast painter. I like the fact there's like 6 models or something in this as well. And I really do love that Negan sculpt. It's fantastic. What I will do is, I think it was shared on Facebook today, and I don't know if anybody's seen it yet, so I will try and search it out. Here's Negan Fanatics. Yeah, here it is. So, I'll drag that across to here. Apologies, I'm just rambling in the background. And I will move across. I don't know if anybody's seen these yet. That basically these are the characters that you get in the Here's Negan box. And these have been painted by is it Angel or Angel? Angel Heraldez, who did the Hellboy stuff as well. And I think it really does show off the quality of these miniatures. I think can I zoom in? No, I don't think. Oh. Nice. These are the guys from Studio Heraldez there. So that's a bit of a bigger picture there, isn't it? So you can see the quality. I mean, obviously the guy's a fantastic painter. He really knows how to throw a brush around and put paint on models. But what it does do, it shows the quality of these sculpts. So anybody that, I'm assuming most people watching this will know what the quality of the sculpts is like. But they really, really are nice models. I love the Negan character. There's bags of character in it. That kind of just the look on his face, the baseball bat above his head. There's just, you know, they look like a real kind of a real ragtag band there, ready to battle through and help out Negan. So yeah, so I think I've probably kind of teased enough stuff now. We're getting on now, probably the last 15 minutes of the stream or so. What's everybody thinking about it? What do you think about Walking Dead All Out War Wave 5? Is that something that you're thinking about picking up in September? What do you think about Here's Negan? Have you heard anything tonight on my stream that has changed your mind? Have I put you off buying it? Have I kind of encouraged you to buy it because you found out something new? Let me know in the chat. So it's always good to see what people think. Just get a drink because I'm boiling up again, as you can see. I'm getting quite shiny there. Tony's saying Angel is an amazing painter. Honestly, I really I struggle to find somebody better, if I'm honest. I just love his style. I love his way of painting things. There are some great painters out there, don't get me wrong, but there's something about the way he kind of paints his style that I really do love. Mark saying they are the paints on the pre-order where you can zoom in. Okay, let's have a quick look on that one. So, pre-order. Yeah, you can, can't you? Thanks for that, Mark. So yeah, you can kind of see there. So there's the Negan character. I forget the names of them now. Go back and check. But I mean, look at the beard on there. Look at those eyes. I bloody couldn't. I couldn't be painting that. He's actually got a pupil in there as well, like a proper little kind of shiny dot. But yeah, the guys that have a painting out of tattoos on the arms there as well. Again, really, really nice. I mean, these guys painted a watch on there as well. As this guy, I've got things to do with his time. Really nice, kind of just the quality of the miniatures, the quality of the paint job. Really has done a cracking job. I mean, look at that top to make it look like a kind of almost like knitted wool, if you like. Guy's good. And then the last model there as well. Little earrings through there, or little nose rings, sorry, lip rings as well. Really, really nice quality. Tony says, does Negan swear in the game though? Let me just show you if Negan swears in the game. Probably something I haven't teased yet. So at the end of the game, you basically count up how many points that you got, reputation points, and you basically you measure those points against a scale. So yeah, why not? Let's tease this. So this is however many survivors you had and how many points you did, and you kind of get on the scale. So, you know, 0 to 4, practically dead. 5 to 14, scrape through. 15 to 29, solid victory. And then 30 plus, effing good job. So yes, Negan does have a little swear. Michael is saying the one with the machine gun was awesomely painted. Jeez, she looks like she's thinking up something. She definitely does, doesn't she? Mark is saying he will a lot in this game. Rob is saying Wave 5 I was going to get regardless, but the free-for-all rules have really got me excited. Get the old AOW gang together again. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well, man. Tim says, didn't know about the Negan game, just heard about Wave 5. Good that you've kind of heard something a little bit new here as well, mate. And Rob saying, here's Negan, looks so good. I've shown the other half and she's interested, which is promising. I think the fact that it's kind of Walking Dead as well, and it's a board game, not a... Like, my wife, we watched The Walking Dead together. I don't think she's really interested. When she sees miniatures in a game, she instantly thinks it's going to be hard and quite tough. I think the fact that this is a board game and you're almost moving squares makes it an easier sell to kind of a non-gamer. So the board game aspect with the Walking Dead theme feels like a good sales pitch to me. Like, I think that's pretty good. So, what's everybody else been up to then? So, how were your weekends? What have you been painting? What have you been playing? How are you coping painting in this heat? I did a little bit more painting over the weekend, and I'll be honest, sitting in front of my window here in my hobby room, it was flipping roasting. I was boiling alive. So I'm kind of struggling to get some painting done in this heat. It really is tough. But yeah. Let's see what get me a drink. I'm boiling alive, guys. So yeah, so that is the teasing now for All Out War Miniatures game Wave 5. Bit of a tease as well for Here's Negan. I apologise to Mantic if I've shared too much. I wasn't really sure what I could share and what I couldn't share. I've tried to leave some stuff as well so that Mantic have still got some kind of things they can share. I hope everyone that's watched, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd like to thank Mantic for sharing the information with me so I could kind of add something to this chat tonight as well. I'd like to thank all of you folks that have been in tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've actually getting something out of this as well, and I hope you've kind of learned a little bit more about it. Anybody that's watching this kind of on catch up, if you like, let me know down in the comments what you think. Tell me which bits you're looking forward to. Ask me if there's any questions that you want to ask. If I can answer them, I will do. So drop them down in the comments. Let's see what everybody's been up to. Michael says he's been looking forward to Strontium Dog from Warlord. Yeah, I think there's a few people been looking forward to that one. Mark says he's been playing Boss Monster with a boy. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, I've heard good things about that as well, mate. Adam says he's preparing to launch a blog for Kill Team on Sunday, Monday. Make sure you link it in the Facebook group, mate, so we can all come over and have a look. Tony said he spent most of the day covered in super glue and stuck everything together except the minis. I think I had a day like that once doing Infinity Minis quite some time ago, where I pretty much stuck everything together except the models. T&G, so he's been painting conflict terrain whilst watching. I tell you what, you guys must have a hell of a lot of terrain to paint. It's not like the kind of was it the London GT for 40k where it was bits of polystyrene. I can imagine you guys are really putting on a good bit of terrain there. So fingers crossed. I hope you all will get it done in time. We've got Michael is saying T&G is going to get in contact with you now over on Facebook. Anth says, cheers, mate. Good stuff. Glad you liked that, mate. Thank you again as well, Anth, for Anth popped over at the weekend and gave me the book for Last Days, which is Ash Barker's kind of zombie game as well, which I'll certainly be giving a go with these miniatures as well. So if you do fancy a bit of a kind of change of pace while you're waiting for September for Wave 5 to come out, always check out Last Days as well. Tim said he had a job cancelled today, so got the first warband for boroughs and badges done. Put them on the Facebook group. I'll have to check that out, mate, as well. I've not seen them yet. Adam says, if you did play D&D, what was your race and your class? I was supposed to play on Saturday night with Steve from Steve's Small World. We're going to play it across Skype. I ordered my dice. I've got all my D&D dice here ready to go. Steve very kindly put me together a character, which I think was I could be getting this wrong now because I'm not up on D&D, but I think it was a halfling rogue. And basically I was meant to start this kind of story where I was tied up to the back of this cart, which was how I'd be introduced into the group that's already kind of midway through. Unfortunately, my little boy is struggling to sleep in this heat. He wasn't going down very well, and he was kind of tossing and turning, really not enjoying the heat. And actually I ended up sitting on the sofa with him, trying to get him to settle down, and I fell asleep with him. I apologise. But yeah, I am going to try and get in the next time. Steve says, resin casting at the miniature challenge. I bet it is, yeah. Rob Seymour says he was playing the Walking Dead Telltale series this weekend. Final season comes out in August. I've played a little bit of that, but I must admit I haven't got very far through it. Phil says, been painting discs of Zench for my Skyfires. Thanks for the show. You're welcome, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Tony says, T&G Productions can't wait for conflict. Yeah, Tony's going, so be kind to him. Look after him, eh? Jamie is busy at relaunching Shade Glass as the All Points. Oh, want to hear more about that, mate? Yeah. Michael says, Andy, tell T&G to enter the 10 questions. Yeah, head across to Michael's channel. He's done a few kind of videos with other YouTubers, of which I was one of them. There's been myself, there's been Nick from Idic Beer, Luke from Luke's APS, Andy from Peninsula Painting. We've all kind of done these 10 questions things. So yeah, head across, mate, and answer his questions for him. That'll be good. Jamie's saying he's covering the entire GW Hobby podcast, videos, and articles. Exclusive leak. Looking forward to that, Jamie. Really, really interested to see what you do with that, mate. No doubt we'll have a catch up at some point. If you're around in Asgard on on Saturday morning, mate, I'll be going down to pick up my my Kill Team pre-order. So anybody that hasn't already ordered Kill Team, head across to asgardwargames.co.uk. They've got some fantastic 25% off pre-orders. So yeah, head across and check them out. Head across to their Facebook group, give them a like, and then every time they've got pre-orders up, which tend to attract a higher discount for the pre-order window, you'll be notified. It's not just GW stuff as well. They do Mantic stuff. They do other stuff as well. So head across and check those guys out. So 5 minutes left. What do you want to chat about, guys? I'm running out of breath here tonight. It is so hot. I'm kind of I'm flagging a bit now. This week on the channel, I'm trying to not spam too much Kill Team stuff. It seems to be all over the place at the minute, so I'll try to not spam that. I think this week, we'll probably do potentially either a painting video this week or potentially a board game review video this week. I might at some point as well over the next couple of weeks. Now I've got the Here's Negan rules. I'll probably do a bit of not a teaser video, but yeah, just my thoughts on the rules. I think it'd be nice to do something on that as well and get some more information. Adam is saying spam the chat. Feel free to spam the chat. Feel free to feel free to spam the super chat. Spam any chat you want. Anybody that has enjoyed this video and you would like to support me through Patreon, of which it says up, if I can get my up there, you can head across to my Patreon page and make a small donation there. You can donate through the super chat. It all basically goes back into it helps with the channel, helps me to get out to see people like Mantic, helps with travel costs, helps me to also buy prizes as well for giveaways. So last week, Josie from Green Stuff Games won this bag, which I need to post out to her. Won this bag. Michael won his what's it called? He won his lanyard, which you need to give me your address, Michael, as well. I need to get that one out there. I've also got coming up on the channel as well. We've got another couple of giveaways coming up soon. There's going to be the chance to win a Kill Team core rulebook, very kindly donated by Asgard War Games, and also a chance to win a Kill Team carry case as well, which I've basically given, but thanks to my Patreon and my Patreons, through their support, it enables me to buy these kind of things to give away. So Jamie's asking, how's the Legion table? It's coming on, mate. A little bit more painting to do, but I'm pretty close now to being able to get a video up on that one. Shaggy's saying, what does everyone think about the two factions in Kill Team not being even in points and can't play a 100v100 Kill Team out of the box? It ain't ideal, is it? I'll be honest, mate. I was surprised when I found that out. What I would say is it gives you an option to play with more command points. So for every 10 points you are under the 100 point, or every 10 points you are under your opponent, it gives you an extra command point. So I suppose it gives you the chance to see how that balancing mechanic works. It isn't ideal, but I guess it's not the end of the world. We know it's based upon the kind of the amount of models that they have on a sprue. I'm just surprised they didn't pick two sprues or two factions where you could get 100 points out of it, but hey. Jimmy says, like, most starter boxes aren't usually equal in points. Do you know what? I think if they'd said in the starter box, a bit like Fantasy Flight do, I think if they'd said in the starter box, this is enough to play a 60-point game or a 70-point game, however, normal games will be 100 points, I think I'd have been less kind of bothered by it than the fact that they say it's 100 points. One side's got 100 points, the other side hasn't. So, for example, if you buy Star Wars Legion, for example, you get about 400 points worth of models in there. The full game is 800 points. I'm surprised they didn't kind of market it like that, but hey, it's not the end of the world, I guess. Adam is saying doesn't really bother him as he finds asymmetric games more interesting. That's definitely one way to look at it, Adam. And Gene is saying typical starter. The starter typically sells you shy of a full force. I would have expected balance. That's kind of where I am. I would have expected balance, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, we're at 10:30 now, guys. I think we'll call it there. I've really, as always, really enjoyed the chat tonight. I love doing these Monday night live streams. They don't get sort of thousands of views or anything like that, but it's just it really gives me a chance to have a chat with you guys, find out what you have been up to. It gives me a chance to kind of interact, and you can ask questions about, for example, this stuff today. It's just a really nice kind of community thing to do, and I love doing them. So thank you to everyone that's been in the chat tonight. Thank you to everybody that watches these back at a later time. I know not everybody, from time differences across the world and people at work or people going out. I appreciate we can't all watch it live. I do appreciate you watching it back at a later date. Please let me know down in the comments who you are. Come and say hi, so I can kind of have a chat with you guys as well. And basically, I think that's about it, really. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.